Hello and welcome to the Witch's Realm. I'm Andrea Franco, intuitive business mentor.
And I'm Amanda Root, mindset and manifestation mentor. We created this podcast as a safe space for women to connect and come out of the witch's closet and own their magic.
We discuss everything from business, pleasure, spell work, sex, wealth, and how to live a magically abundant as fuck life.
Yeah, get ready to tune in and get turned on.
Welcome back to the Witch's Realm. Andrea here, and
I'm Amanda Root, mindset and manifestation mentor. Happy to be back.
we are back talking about all things money today. That's what's really been surfacing. So we're ready to talk about money. I'm so excited.
So excited. Let's really get into it today.
All right.
I'm
here for this.
So Andrea and I have a really fun little thing that we do right before the podcast where we do a little planning and we kind of talk about, what we're feeling called to speak on this week. And we've been talking a lot about, I guess, beliefs around money, right? And systems that exist around money and what money really is. And talking about money in general.
Yeah.
Because that in and of itself has its own set of sort of connotations around it, right? Like some
Especially
people are
women.
brought up like, don't talk about money.
But especially women, I feel like it's like we're taught not to kind of talk about and know about money.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, I guess let's start with what do you think was like one of your first beliefs that you remember kind of breaking and unlearning when it comes to money?
I mean, I feel like I unlearned and broke so many things about money, but I think that really realizing that I can truly have and hold money was the biggest, like, massive breakthrough for me, because I lived in a family that really didn't teach me about, like, keeping the money. It was like paycheck to paycheck, week to week. And it took me a long time to really realize that, like, wealth is a thing and I can literally have the money and keep the money and have an abundance of it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I feel like as young women, you're kind of told like you're going to grow up, you're going to go to college, get a job, and then you're going to earn X amount, right? Like based off of like what you decide to do, like you play the game of life, right? And it's like, this is what you're going to get and that's going to be enough.
Yeah. I also feel like even like in my family, to be honest, it's like you're going to be a nurse or you're going to do something like secretariat or what, like it's very, you have to do all of these things. And it was hard for me to start my journey to deeper wealth or, like my whole life it was 100K is the most that you could ever do. And like, no matter what, that's what you should strive for. And I really realized that you don't have to go to college.
I remember you saying to me so many times, like $100,000, like 6 figures was your
I made
ceiling.
It.
Like you were like, all I need to do is make 6 figures, 6 figures, 6 figures. And I was like, if you don't stop saying that, like I'm going to slap you.
I just feel like I will never forget, like my dad, I worked at Stop and Shop. And my dad would literally be like, you can make it up to being a manager and you'll make 6 figures. It was like, my mom always was like, as a nurse, I want to make 6 figures. Everyone, it was like 6 figures.
That's a perfect example of exactly what we're talking about, right? So like, you're brought up in this family, you're born into a life and you have parents and, maybe it's not your parents, but whoever you are influenced by, their belief systems and their values and feelings about money influence yours and therefore influence your actions around money. And so you act from a place of, this is how much I can have, this is how much is available to me. So you're receiving the same thing that's on the other end of that vibrational string.
Yeah.
So if you think 100K is like your, you're going to hit 100K.
I know.
That's what you're going to track towards. And then you're going to be like, oh, that's doable.
Yeah.
How do I get to the next and to the next? And that's how people start changing their mindsets.
Yeah. And I also think the other thing is I grew up with a family who didn't really save money. So, you know, my dad either gambled or whatever else, but I never really got to see money. So they spent it a lot. So in my first year that I made $100K, I spent it all, you know? And so that was the other thing that I really feel like changed everything for me, was the breakthrough of I can and will be different. And the first part of that was like admitting it. And I feel like a lot of us don't like even want to go that deep.
Admitting what?
Like admitting where I saw, and I'm just going to say like shortcomings of myself, of where like, so this is all I've ever known. Right. And this is what I was taught. And it's not wrong or right, but like admitting I wanted more. And in order to do more and have more, I had to learn differently and allow what I've been taught to kind of evaporate from my system and like learn something else, which is something I didn't know and wasn't taught. And I knew that I had to go to outside sources, like people like you and investors and other people, to actually come out of this shell. Because so often, like, ask people where they live. It's usually within miles of where they grew up, right? So many of us don't want to go outside of what we were taught in our family structures. And I think that's so deep of like our ingrained money systems that we really should be talking about, where like we can do and have more.
Yeah. So for me, it was like my dad works super, super hard. And so it was like, if you work hard, you can have a lot of money. And so to me, money was always going to be the result of like really, really hard work. So I would just like every day get up and like kill myself and be like, I'm going to have so much money. I know you know, because you know me a long time. But in reality,
Doesn't have to be
money is not a result of hard work, because if, and I always use this analogy, so excuse me if you've heard it, but like if the hardest working people in America were the richest people, farmers would be the richest people in America. It's not about hard work. It's about, you know, the vibration of what you are capable of receiving and what you can hold and what, and money is not good, bad. That's another thing, you know, when you start talking about money, it's like people are automatically kind of default to these belief systems that they have about people who have money, right? Because they have these beliefs. People with money are stubborn. People with money are greedy. People with money are shady. People with money are lucky.
Yeah, I hate that one. Lucky.
I mean,
worked for this. Okay.
But it's
I know.
These are belief systems. And when you start
It's
to
true.
realize that money is just an energy and a fuel for impact, you know, it'll just start appearing in crazy ways.
I agree. And I do think that, like, you know, part of my money work was logical and was learning, but a lot of it was energetic, where I'm like, I'm identifying what's holding me back and I'm releasing it and I'm rewriting it.
And I'm here for more than 100K per year.
And I make 100K a month now.
And then some.
So yeah, it took, and also like I almost said it took some time, but the truth of the matter is it's like really,
It takes 1 second.
it like doesn't take a long time. And like there's foundational buildings to like having a business and being an entrepreneur, but the fact of the matter is like if you are ready to get radically honest with yourself and look in the mirror at like, hey, this is the energetic frequency in which I view money, and here's where I feel blocked or held back, or you know, we have ancestral money wounds and a lot of different things. When I was like, I'm ready to do this and go all in. And so I really took a look at where I could do better and where I desired to up level.
Yeah.
And I just went all in.
Well, it worked. So good job. So talking about impact, because for me, I guess the question is for you, like what, now that you're making all this money, like what motivates you? Is it still the money that motivates you?
I feel like money, I mean, I don't even, I feel like
Don't
money
lie.
has become so much easier to me. There's still a split. Like obviously for me, the more money I make, the more I can give. The more money I make, the more I can impact. The more money I have, the more I could put into hiring, into my company, into expansion, into helping more people. So of course, like money is a motivator, but it's become much less of a motivator, because when I first started, I was $100,000 in debt. So it's like, let me just climb out of this freaking hole.
Yeah.
Right. And then it was great. I have money coming in. And then it was,
Isn't it funny that you were $100,000 in debt though, and $100,000 was your goal? Is that a coincidence?
I don't
know. No, it's not. That perfectly illustrates the point.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I just feel like this can be a rapid process, but I also wanted to bring up like, what is once money starts becoming more abundant, right? Is like, what's the shifts in like the things that you buy and like the things that you do too?
I mean, a lot of my clients, when they started up leveling into really big months, they honestly stopped spending. A lot of them stopped spending.
Really?
And that's something that I notice with a lot of my clients that like have high big months. Is like after that they're just like, I want to invest. Mm-hmm. I want to build. And that's the difference between money and wealth. That's the difference between
Thank you, sister. I feel like not enough people in the coaching industry in general really talk about wealth. We are so high on let's make money,
yeah,
and then
let's get a new car.
Yeah, and the truth of the matter is I believe in abundance and I believe in buying what you want and like going on that vacation and making that pussy purchase, because I'm all about that. But also like let's talk logics of things. Is like you're making money, but now
Are we X-rated now?
No. Like that's what it's when things excite you and you make a purchase. I wasn't trying to be all like whatever. What I think the point is people I tell a story about the Range Rover, right? So like here's the thing. I live in an apartment, a luxury apartment, and I don't go a lot of places, right? I don't. And I was going to get a Range Rover. And I had to ask myself, like the Range Rover was like funny. Let's use the 100,000.
Everything comes back to 100,000.
Anyways, this Range Rover was 100,000. My clients, people around me, all of these people were like getting cars, right? And I was like, I want to be bougie. I want to be luxury. And then I looked at like I was going to put 10,000 down, and really, do I really like need that? And I feel like there's abundant purchases around money that feel good, but then there's some logic that I think that needs to come into realities. 100%. And I was like, I ended up investing that money to work for me in stocks and mutual funds.
And now you can buy that car outright 5 times, 10 times.
And now I can buy that car outright. But here was the other thing is I actually had to touch where like a lot of us, and this is so true around money, is we're spending money to impress other people because there's status symbols like pocketbooks or cars or different things that have become like, this means you have money. And like, I think you've always said this is wealth whispers.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I'll buy a bag. Like, I'm not going to lie.
No.
But I've always sort of felt like, money talks and wealth whispers. Yeah. Like if you really are somebody who's wealthy, it's a lot more than, it's about a lot more than the money. Mm-hmm. It's a lot about freedom for most people. Working with entrepreneurs, that's some of the questions that I like to ask is like, what do you define as wealth? And so many people say freedom. Yep. Hands down. I would say that's like the number one answer. So, what is wealth and defining that and like realizing that you can make a lot of money without working that hard. It's not about hard work. It's about smart work.
Yeah. I mean,
and good work.
Hiring was a huge thing for me too. Instead of using my money to, go buy a Range Rover, which I decided not to do, I drive a 2009 Jetta. I don't really drive anywhere and it drives just fine. When my bougie self feels like upgrading, well, no, upgrade, great. But like I wanted to be smarter about that. However, now I have like so many different team members and like they save me time and make me money. So this is, as we get smarter, and it's funny enough, I said I was going to bring this up in this episode, but there are so many things that I wouldn't do. And I feel like as wealth and money has grown for me, I make other fun choices, like getting my lips done or like doing fun things with money. But I think that it's really the balance. And I would like to talk about that for a minute on like the balance of.
I was just going to say, what's the stupidest thing you've ever bought?
Oh, no. I don't know. I buy a lot of crazy spiritual stuff. I don't think it's stupid, but sometimes I go overboard.
Yeah.
Like I just was on this live sale on Instagram and I think I stopped wanting the things and I just wanted to be the one to get the things.
Yeah.
So it was like, how they do that on Instagram? It's like,
get caught up in the moment.
You have to drop, like you drop the letter and you're like claim. I was claiming everything just because I got really excited. And so, yeah, I mean, we definitely have gone. What's the stupidest thing you ever purchased?
Oh, God. I was just actually trying to think about it. I mean, there's been so many stupid things, but I feel like, you know, some of the beauty stuff I feel like has been like crazy, you know, like some crazy face oil. I'm a sucker
See, I don't do that stuff.
I'm a sucker for like a $200 face oil. I love to like rub that oil on my face, but and like I don't even know what's in it.
These lips were a great purchase.
I mean, do what makes you happy, you know? And I think that's what it's about is it's
happiness.
Gratitude is the frequency of abundance. Like everybody says that it's a frequency. It's gratitude is the frequency of abundance. If you want to manifest abundance, just hook up with gratitude, drop in, you know, be grateful for what you have and like tell the universe that you're looking for more. And it will literally start to, as you start to do this and start to change your feelings about money. I mean, let's talk about that. How do you change your feelings about money? How does that happen? How can you do it faster without having to make all these mistakes yourself? That's what the people want to know.
Yeah, I mean, you literally have to decide that you're going to write a new belief. So for me, it was like tapping into how I was feeling about money and how could I no longer make that my reality. So this took a lot of energy work for me, like journaling it out, crying it out, meditating it out, and like actually completely living another life. And I think you really actually have to change the belief up there. When I started saying that like this is completely fucking possible for me to make 100K months, that's the closer and closer I got. You know, and really having that belief in your heart and your mind. And I think a huge part of that for me was having a new circle. You know, like not talking to people that had bad influences in me, not listening to people. Like it was, I have to say, it's a whole life reboot.
Yeah.
And that's a hard decision because there's a lot of people getting into entrepreneurship will hire me and it's like mom and dad and this and that. And like, you know, you have to really do like a clearing of not just your energetic frequency, but of like everything around you and make sure you're keeping a sound mind because sound mind, body, soul is how you rewrite all of this.
Yeah. I mean, you're definitely the company you keep. And I fully believe in calibration. So like, you know, everyone is going to calibrate to the highest person's frequency in the room. So yeah, I mean, definitely surrounding yourself with the right company. But I think also like, you know, making decisions from your next level version of yourself is huge. 100%. I remember when you were, you know, contemplating moving into the luxury apartments and, you know, you were making enough. And that's what it's kind of about.
When I made my first move into my first apartment, I was living with my mom and I wasn't making enough. I always
just enough.
I mean, like I didn't know how I was going to pay rent.
But that's the faith.
Yeah, no, I just knew. Like, I remember, I will never forget the day I invested in my first coach. And I remember looking at her on stage and being like, I'm ready to change. Like, I'm ready to go into this next level of like money, wealth, frequency, everything. And I got down on the floor and I cried my eyes out and I found a way to do like credit card, moved all of the money in all of my accounts. And I paid $5,000, which at the time was everything to me. But I always make moves before for the person that I'm going to be, the person that I'm calibrating to. So the OBM hire, the apartment, the investments in coaches. And I believe that you can't just make that purchase and it's like, it's going to come to me, right? It's like, then you move like her, you act like her. It's that what's the opposite of like be, do, have.
You do have.
You know?
I knew you were going to say that. Yeah.
Is it like because you're saying,
yeah. But yeah, no, you're right. I mean, that's the embodiment piece. It's like, you know, if you want to be that person, you have to do the things. You have to do all the things that person does.
I fully agree. I think there's, you know, a lot of different things about getting to your next level with money, but I just really wanted to talk about like the journey that it took to get here because I know what it's like to be in debt. I know what it's like to make scary investments and to have nothing. Truly, I feel like that's where the gratitude piece comes in for me. Like I can believe that I make 100K months, but I also like can't at the same time because I've come so far so fast and I'm so grateful. But I just want all of the listeners listening to this who are sitting here like, shit, you know, I'm trying to get to that next level. Like this may not be an overnight game. This takes consistency. And I think that's really important is like when you dedicate to your next level of money, of next level, you know, wealth, that you've got to go all in on it and not give a shit about anyone else around you. That I think is huge. Why are you laughing
don't give a shit about anyone else.
Don't. I mean, no, like not about their opinions is what I meant. I know. I gotta watch my words.
No, I mean,
you know what I meant, people.
We know what you meant. I can't. Yeah, I know. I mean, I couldn't have said it better.
Like, wait, let's go to one other fun question. So, what's your, since you've felt like you've upgraded into a wealth frequency, that you have more abundance, what's one of your favorite purchases?
I mean, I took my family on a really amazing vacation this summer. Like, I took all the kids, my husband, we went away. We did like a really long trip for what we usually do. And I was gone for a while. And again, for me, that's about that freedom, right? It's not about like how much I spend, or it's more about like I was able to take the time and like have some really amazing memories. And you know, once you get to a certain point in that mindset, it's like every dollar I spend makes me richer. So I'm happy to spend it, and I'm happy to spend it on something that's like bringing my family a lot of joy. And I really I love being tan. So
I know. I love being tan too. It's my favorite. I feel like recently my favorite things to buy, well, not things, because like they're not things, but one of the things I love doing with money is hiring more team. It's really been like so crazy. I just brought on another amazing OBM, and like she saved my ass today, and she saves my ass all of the time. Like,
no, the hiring, you're right. Yeah, that's another. I didn't even think about that. Yeah,
next level for me. No, I think I loved your example, because I'm always using like business example. Like, for me too. Like I'm going on a couple of trips this month. And I feel like this is why I wanted to have these conversations, because not enough people are talking about, you know, everything, the whole picture, like the family life. Like, you're a mom of 3. Yeah. You know, there's so many moms that are listening right now who think, like, I was talking about you today. I was on a call and someone was making, and I don't get how motherhood is, because I'm not a mother. But I mean, this woman runs 3 companies with 3 children and a husband and manages it. And so she's the epitome for me of what I strive to be as a mother, and balance, you know? And so I think that needs to be talked about a lot more. Like, I'm glad that you brought a vacation up instead of OBM.
Well, I think, you know, for me, it's changed. So, you know, I really want to build a legacy for my children. And that's why it's become like so much more for me. But I have 2 daughters, and I feel like the conversations around money and investments, like, they just don't happen for girls. Like, it just didn't happen for me. Luckily, my dad is like always gives me a seat at the table.
I love that.
You know, but I think that a lot of girls, they just are taught, like, you don't need to worry about this. Like, don't worry about finances. Your husband will take care of that, or whatever. And I know that's starting to shift for sure. Like, I have so many powerful women around me. I mean, my mom has always set a great example for me, as far as like, you know, being a hard worker. But again, like, if I wanted to learn how to invest my money, I had to go and seek advice, and I wanted advice from other women.
Yeah, we just hired a woman investor.
Yeah, which was amazing. I mean, I wanted advice from other women. I wanted to hear from other women that felt the way that I feel, which is like, we should have a seat at the table too. You know?
Yeah. No, I fully back that, because I do feel like what we're doing, the work I do, you know, hiring investors, bringing women into our programs is, you know, I really believe that putting money in the hands of powerful women will raise the whole collective.
Absolutely.
And that's why we, you know, one of the reasons to start even this podcast for me is like letting women know that they can truly tap into their power and their confidence and their abundance. And, you know, Monday is a conduit for everything. And, you know, a lot of people shy away from this topic, which is why I was like really feeling called to talk about it today, where it is a thing, it is real, it does move mountains, like it moves things, you know? And I think we should be talking about more of it day to day, and how it can really change lives and how it can create more freedom.
Yeah. It's a tool, it's fuel, it's an energy, and it feeds you know, if you think of it as like a source, I think that's kind of a key way of thinking.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I remember when this all first started and we'd pull, I'd be, you know, sometimes I'd be like really tight or like putting it out. Like, it's really that balance of like letting money ebb and flow. You know, you always would say, just like the moon cycles.
Yes. Let it flow.
Which I really love.
Absolutely.
Is there any other topics that we want to cover? Any fun shares? I feel like we went into a lot. This has got juicy.
So much. This got really juicy fast. I mean,
I love talking about money and things.
It's funny because what you were talking about with women, you know, there's so much coming. There's so much like exciting stuff happening behind the scenes. And I just feel like this conversation has just begun.
Yep.
And
and we'll do an episode on this when it comes, but like I'm going to be a mom someday because I'm currently manifesting my husband. So I'm excited to tell you about that soon too.
Okay. What a teaser.
I can't, we're doing an episode on that eventually, just in case we wanted to switch gears.
Here we go. Buckle up.
Buckle up.
Thanks for listening, guys.
I love
Go
you
make
all
that money.
so much. All right. So please make sure that you let us know if you have any questions about money.
Yeah.
Make sure to join my free group, the Intuitive Boss Babe Community, and we'll be linking things in the show notes.
If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, topics you'd like to discuss, email us at thewitchesrealmpodcast@gmail.com, and we would love to talk about it on the next episode.
Absolutely. And if you have any topics that you want us to jam out on, we'd love any feedback. So we love you, and we'll see you next time. Mwah!